Are you short on answers? Are you short on answers? A man, I'll call him Peter, said something to me once that no one had ever said to me before. We had a lot in common. Roughly the same age, into antique New England architecture, severely left-brained, a background in computers, and we both grew up in upstate New York. He said something like this: "I want to believe. Sell me." I admit that I said a silent prayer at that moment, something like this: "Thank you, God. This shouldn't be too complicated." But it was. Over the next several months, Peter asked me more questions than anyone else ever had. Fairly early on in our conversations, I explained the gospel message to him and asked if he was ready to put his faith in Jesus. He said, "No." So I asked what was standing in his way. He had another question ready and wanted to talk again soon. When we met the next time, I answered that question. And as we finished lunch, he asked another question that he wanted to discuss when we met the next time. That went on for weeks and weeks. Peter had a lot of well-thought-out questions, and he wanted well-thought-out answers. Then, finally, one day, he ran out of questions. So I asked if he was ready to put his faith in Jesus. Again, he said, "No." But that time, and for several future meetings, he said he would let me know his next question at a different time, a later time. I found out some months later that he was asking his quasi-atheist friend for more questions. So months later, when his friend also ran out of questions, Peter was ready. He had had many questions, and when he got satisfying answers, Peter was ready to put his faith in Jesus Christ. His honest questions deserved and got meaningful answers. Skeptic, seeker, are you asking sincere questions? You really should be. Think this thing through about God and Jesus. It's important. Ask your questions. And Jesus promised, "Seek and you will find." So make the effort. And if some church won't give you answers, seek them somewhere else on your own. And don't take some quasi-atheist friend's or professor's word on something as important as your eternity. Here's an example of what I mean. People have told me many times that they reject the Bible because it's all secondhand information. They say it's all secondhand information. I always ask them, did you find that out on your own, or did someone else tell you? Think about it. And besides, the person that told them that doesn't know that the Bible is full of first-hand, eyewitness testimony. So ask your questions. Ask God for the answers. Ask God to bring someone into your life that can answer your questions. Well, maybe He's brought me into your life. I've written a lot of answers that are on the eSeeker.org website, eSeeker.org. Answers to questions are there like, is Jesus the only way? What about the person who's never heard? What about good people? Why do the innocent suffer? Would a good God send someone to hell? What about children? What about the hypocrites? Does God even exist? Is Jesus God? And why is the Bible interpreted in so many ways? Well, if your question isn't there, send it to me in an email. I'll answer. I really will. All of this is just too important for you to just let it slide. My email address is john@justaq.org. That's john@justaq.org. Are you short on answers? Then actively seek them. And believer, a true faith is one you should be able to defend. Study the answers on that eSeeker.org website. It'll make you more confident in your faith and more capable in your witness. Learn the answers. Seriously, learn the answers. And pray that God brings you into the life of a skeptic or seeker who's asking real questions. Here's a great exhortation from 1 Peter 3:15. Sanctify, that means set apart. So here it is. Set apart Christ as Lord in your hearts, always being ready to make a defense to everyone who asks you to give an account for the hope that is in you, yet with gentleness and reverence. So when you're answering someone, remember that you're trying to help them figure this stuff out. It's not a competition. You're not trying to beat them. In a sense, you both win or you both lose. But what happens when you don't know the answer to their question? Well, for sure, don't make up an answer. If you don't know an answer, well, here's the right answer to that question. Here it is. Just say this. That's a great question. I don't know the answer. I'll tell you what. I'll get an answer for you. When can we meet again and talk about it? Believer, are you short on answers? Then learn to give meaningful ones to honest questions. And one more thing, well, I could say two more things. First, skeptic or seeker, you may be rejecting a gospel that isn't the gospel in the Bible. See, you don't have to work your way to heaven. You don't have to get some church attendance award to get there. Watch the video on 911god.org, 911god.org, to find out what the real gospel message is. In that video, I'll answer 5 questions for you, then ask the one question that only you can answer. It sure would be an eternal travesty if you rejected a gospel message that wasn't even the real one. And second, for believers, can you explain the real gospel to someone? If someone told you that they were ready to put their faith in Jesus, could you walk them through the process? Watch that 911 God video a few times. Print some copies of its PDF and print the one-page gospel from that site. Get ready to be used by God. Pray for opportunities to help a friend. People are seeking God, especially millennials are doing that. Are you ready to help them? Are you seeking them? If you're short on meaningful answers, get prepared. I'm John Morris. I'll see you on 911god.org or on the next Just a Question.